And welcome back to the final video in this series, putting it all together. Yay! I hear you cry. Well, let's get on with it. This project was sponsored by PCBWay, who supplied the go-to 286 board that you'll see in the project. Their website is very easy to use. They are cheap, 10 boards, $5, $6 to ship. They arrive very quickly. So far I've not used the advanced or flexi rigids or the assembly process. I expect that will go just as smoothly. So for your PCB needs, go to PCBWay. Right, I made up one of my go-to boards, and for this lamp I'm going to use a Wi-Fi unit with an external aerial. And you may notice it looks a bit odd down there because a brand new unit, and I move that out the way. Actually, I'll just comment that out, bring that over, and you will see down there that the first time I plugged the antenna on, the connector disintegrated. Not only was it not properly soldered on the board, but as it was not soldered on one leg, as soon as I put pressure on it, the one this side broke off, followed by that one. So yeah, just junk. So what I did was, the usual thing is I just cut the end of the wire off with the connector, trimmed it back a bit, and I've soldered it on. And hopefully that's going to be as good a connection as the connector. So that's that. So can't trust these Chinese people to use quality components. Turn that one off. And then I was thinking, how am I going to mount that? Because it's going to mount upside down or in the unit. I thought, how am I going to mount that? So what I've done, I just 3D printed a little plastic mount with some posts, and I've put some double-sided sticky on the back. And then the idea is that I'll just sit the board over the top. I'll put a bit of Captain tape on the top of the pins, and then I'll just use the heatsink to mould them over, and that will just hold it in place. And good to go. So the next step is going to be installing that into the unit. I did 3D print a little collar, and the little collar effectively just sits on there so that when the antenna screws in, it just makes it look a little bit better on the top of the unit, as I couldn't find any washers to bulk this out. So rather than bulking out with washers, I just made a little top hat, and it's just held on with that. I suppose I could put the nut, I could have made a recess so the nut went in it and that nut held it down. But yeah, I say, how often do you take an antenna off of a thing once it's fixed? So that's how I got. Just deciding on the power supply whether to cut off the USB-C, on the grounds I don't have any USB-C connectors, not even off anything I can salvage. So I might just chomp through, because I only want the 5 volt, I only want the power lines. Don't really care about the control lines, I just want the 5 volts out, and hopefully that's the default. So we'll see if I can find something with a USB connector, I'll go that route. So back on with the lamp. A bit hard to show this because the lamp is so long, but we will start the process rolling of fitting the antenna. So, oops, washer fell off. And we'll put the antenna through the hole, catch it when it comes out the other side. Alright, so that's out the other side. I'll put the washer on. Now I wonder what it would look like if I put, well, actually, don't know. I'll go back to my original idea and have the nut underneath. Yeah, I could find some, if I find some washers, maybe I'll just bulk it up a bit. I'd rather have some of this sticking out the top. Can't hold it on the inside, so that's not very good. How am I going to do this? Pliers. Maybe a pair of pliers on there. Alright, I've had a dig round and I found a spanner. I can probably hold the flats on there gently and tighten it. That's it, with an 8mm spanner, and then that little bit just goes over the top. It sits over the nut so you can't see the nut. It's just like a little top hat, and that screws on, and hopefully I got the length so that it just bottoms out whereabouts that is. Turning it over again, there's its little doodah poking out, and I run that over like that, put that under there. Whereas the power comes in from over there, so over here seems to probably a reasonable place to put the board. So that's where it's going to live. I've no idea how well this sticky is going to stick. Also, I'm having to hold the lamp with one hand because it's dangling off the table. Oh, there we go. I'll stick it on there. Not sure. Problem being a spiral, it tends to spiral around when you try not to do it. So there it is, pushing it on, and then the idea is that will just sit on there and we'll heat stake it on. That's the idea. Never tried doing it, so we'll see what happens. Right, zoomed in a bit to see what will happen. Never tried this before, but with a bit of PLA and a bit of Kapton tape over the top so the iron don't get all grotty and horrible. Oh, it's working really well. I think that's going to be enough. Take that away. Board firmly staked on. I could bring in the microscope maybe. This microscope thing is absolutely useless. You can see there it's reasonably staked over. So I think that is going to hold the board really well. So just need to sort out the wiring, which I should have done really before I staked it on, because these are the wires. Let's get rid of the microscope. These are the wires that are going to it. There's the power wires to be joined on, and this is basically data and power. So they've got to go like that. Whoops, you can't see. They've got to go like that. So, oops. But there you go. Not everyone's perfect. I'm far from it. Right, we'll sort that out, and I'm not sure if I film soldering it on, but we'll get that out of the way. Don't need that anymore, as it's getting a bit long in the tooth, these videos. So we'll just tin on top of these wires. That will allow the sleeving to shrink back as it gets hot, and then once it's shrunk back, it shouldn't shrink much more. So just cut them to a reasonable length to go through the board so they don't stick out too far the other side. So we'll bring these around. We'll just heat the wire up and poke it through the hole, if you can see that. Did that go through the hole, or did it make a mess? No, not working very well here. I know what. Put it in the hole next to it that's got no soldering in it. So let's just pull it back a little bit, lob a solder. Oh, I should really have done this before I heat staked it on. Yep, there it goes. What a billy silly I am. Do the same with this one. Poke it in the hole, nice lot of solder. Yep, that's taken. I don't know how well it's taken, but it has. Yeah, that's soldered. And that just leaves that one to go up there. Bugger. Not exactly what I wanted. Oh well, it's gone in. So that's soldered. So it can all tuck down nicely. I think when it's finally done, I shall just tie them together a bit more support, because a bit of wood comes in over here anyway. And well, I just checked to see if the connector would go through the hole, so I could go in there and do that. It won't. So off comes the connector. Won't be good for a Raspberry Pi anymore. Let's get rid of this close up and get back to the bigger one. Right, change the colour and lighting. But, so hopefully we'll put a kind of, I cut this down, I didn't have a right one to fit, so no idea whether this will actually go together. Well, I managed to push it in off camera and it seems to be holding. So I can't easily get this up there. It's so long, it's nearly 2 meters long. So there's the end of the cable. We'll trim that back and see if we can find the power line. Oh, might have to do that off camera because this thing is so long and it's getting a bit bent. Well, unfortunately you can see here it's getting a bit tatty where I've been going through things. I found that this connector hits the backing here, so I've had to cut it away a bit. I've also had to fold the end of the connections, so I just got to remember which one's the tip. So I should pause. Right, so let's remove the nut and the washer and turn the iron on. Right, iron's coming on. Give it a tad to warm up. I have to tap it, or it won't warm up, it will just sit there in standby mode. We'll just tin these. So the wire keeps pushing its way out of the way. So, tin that one, the negative one, or the black one. Trim these off. And then reaching over, you want to put a hook on the positive one. And solder that on. I really needed to get a better camera layout. Apologise if you can hear a noise in the background. That's the that's the shower pump running. That's a reasonable joint, I suppose. Put a hook on the negative one. And bend it over a bit of mechanical strength. Oops. And I'll get that one on. Now we've got a bit of support on the red one, we can just reflow it again, make it a bit more tidy. And then we should, now you'll be able to see on the top camera, be able to it's a bit tight. Hence all the scratches. It should just fit in there nicely. And I'll put the nut on. Luckily this is going to be on the floor, so no one's going to see it. So that's on nice and tight, tucked in. So when it stands up, you won't be able to see much because it's nicely there. So let's just find the top, or should I call it the bottom. Let's put this back down again gently. And we'll cut. It's got a mind of its own. It unwinds. Then we'll just pop a little plywood cover on. When I finally finish the whole thing, that's better. Yep, there you go. That's on okay. Let's screwdriver back away. And now, when we turn it back up, here's the 5-volt power supply, and plug it in and away it should go. Now there it goes, running the twinkle display, which the camera here isn't really picking up at all. We'll move it about, and I think a quick shot of it moved somewhere else, and we'll say that this project has been put to bed. Well, I hope you liked this video. If you did, hit the subscribe button, click on the like button, hit the bell, and I'll catch you on the next one.